सुंदर ते ध्यान उभे विटेवरी करकटावरी घेऊनिया सुंदर ते ध्यान. Welcome everybody. You're listening to me, Vaishali from Pune. The story I've chosen to tell all of you is an epic, but a very small chapter from the epic of Krishna Leela. Many of you, even around the world, have heard of Krishna. This story speaks of one of his incarnations in the form of Vitthal or Panduranga, as he is better known as. The incarnation of Krishna, where he's standing on a brick waiting for his devotee. I begin my story. This is centuries ago in a small village in Bharat, which everyone today knows as India, lived a young lad by the name Pundalik. While all the men and women in his village worked very hard in the farm as cobblers, as blacksmiths, trying to make ends meet and earn a righteous living, this young lad Pundalik always thought it was best to make an easy buck. He preferred stealing. He preferred cheating people, getting into the forest, robbing an unknown traveler. And his bad habits did not stop at that. Worst of all was the way in which he treated his parents. His parents longed to have a son. They were childless for a very long time, and after paying their respects to Krishna for years together, they had Pundalik. They had dreams and desires and hoped for this son, but all of that was shattered for the way in which Pundalik behaved with everybody, and worst of all with them. He never helped them with anything, and being over 20, he still lived with his parents without a job. They kept supporting him, hoping that one day he would change. During one of his adventures, being the local goon or thug, he was once inside a forest, waiting to rob an unwary traveler, when he observed a guru meditating under a tree. He was drawn to this guru. He went and sat next to him. The guru probably noticed the restlessness in Pundalik and started telling him a variety of stories. He told him stories from the epics of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and the stories from the Vedas too. Something inside Pundalik moved, and he asked a very simple question to the Guru. "O great Guru, my mind is always wavering. I too want to seek salvation. I want to be able to meditate like you. I want to find the spiritual path, but I always find myself being lost in petty things in life. Show me the true path of salvation." Well, the Guru did not have much time, but did spend a few moments teaching him how to meditate. Pundalik hoped that he would change and went back, that he would soon be a changed man. But change doesn't come that easily. Pundalik found his monkey mind always being drawn towards the easy ways of making money, and he was back to what he was. But at the same time, he realized he was not able to follow the path of the Guru. He went back into the forest, seeking his advice one more time. And the Guru realized that maybe meditation was something that Pundalik might not be able to achieve so easily, and he advised him that one of the things he could do was to pay the right respect to his parents, to treat them well, to watch his karma and do the right deeds. And in turn, in process, he would find his way towards spirituality. Pundalik did turn a new leaf. He behaved better with his parents. He did smaller jobs that he knew, but he tried to earn a living the right way. Slowly and steadily, his parents were very happy to see this wonderful change in their son. They wanted their son to marry and have his own life, and so they looked for a wonderful bride, a beautiful looking girl, and hoped the two of them would be happily married. And as per old customary, the couple lived with Pundalik's parents. But life had something else in store for Pundalik's parents because this girl brought bad news. She changed Pundalik to who he was before. She was jealous, she was mean, she wasn't helpful, and she had a very bitter tongue. She never spoke the kindest of words to anyone, including Pundalik's parents. And she had Pundalik wrapped around his finger, always listening to whatever she had to say. Well, now, Pundalik's parents had had enough. One night, just before going to bed, Pundalik's mother spoke to her husband and said, I've had enough. We've done everything that we could for our son, but still he treats us this way. I would like to spend our last days in search of Krishna. Let's gather all our small savings and go on a pilgrimage, never to come back to him. I don't want to see his face ever again. The husband agreed, and the couple decided to put all their savings together and pack their bags and leave. But life had something else in store, because there was Pundalik's wife listening to what the couple was planning, and she immediately went and demanded that Pundalik too should leave with them, and she would join them too in the pilgrimage. She turned to Pundalik and said, maybe you'll find a better job over there. Something we can do. Your parents are going to take all the savings and go away. We'll be left with nothing. And so the four of them left, much against Pundalik's mother's wishes. They took a horse and they left. But Pundalik had another excuse for making his wife to sit on the horse instead, quoting that, oh, she's so delicate, she won't be able to take this difficult path and travel with us all the way and walk all the distance. There, Pundalik's parents were left walking, while this lady sat on the horse. Every night as they visited different temples, when the four of them stopped, it was the duty of the parents to tend the horse, to feed it, to clean it, to go and collect berries and fruits for them, while Pundalik and his wife merrily enjoyed and took a night's nap. On one of their journeys, after a long walk, they reached the ashram of a guru by the name Kukutswami. He was a very well-known guru and he had a large ashram. They decided to spend a few days there and listen to his sermons during the day. The night that they went to sleep, at the break of dawn, Pundalik heard the noise of some anklets. He was woken up. He looked outside from the room that he was sleeping, and there he saw three beautiful maidens walking into the ashram. They were beautiful indeed, but dressed in rags. Their face was dirty, their nails were ugly. But before Pundalik could say anything, the three women began cleaning the ashram. They started cleaning every nook and corner and did all the chores to make the place look spick and span. And when they finished, they went into Kukutswami's room and came back looking absolutely clean and gorgeous and beautiful, and then disappeared in thin air. Pundalik was confused at what he saw, but he kept quiet. The same thing happened the second day, but on the third day, curiosity got the better of him. And Pundalik raced before the women and kneeled in front of them. But of course, with paying his respects, he folded his hands and asked them, "Pray tell me, O women, who are you? So beautiful, yet so ugly at the same time?" One of the women looked at Pundalik and said, "I'm Ganga. This is Yamuna and this is Saraswati, and we are the holy rivers of Bharat. And you foolish man, you don't realize that you humans come and bathe in this river hoping to wash away all your sins. And we come here every night, laden with all your sins, cleaning this ashram, hoping to become pure again, for more people like you to come back and bathe in the river. And let me tell you, Pundalik, you are the worst of the lot." Pundalik was alarmed to hear this. "Me? Worst of the lot? What have I done?" "Think of your karma. Think of what you've been doing. That's all that Ganga said, and she left. Now, Pundalik was a smart man. He knew what Ganga was indicating, and he realized that she was speaking about the sin that he was committing, the way in which he was treating his own parents, who loved him dearly in spite of the way he behaved with them. Well, that was probably the last he saw of his old self, because Pundalik now went back home after the pilgrimage, a changed man. He persuaded his wife, and they both took the right path, one step at a time, slowly and steadily, but started respecting his parents, led a better way, and led a happier life, completely devoted. And in this process, Pundalik hoped that he would get a glimpse of his Krishna that his parents so much believed in. And while now Pundalik was at his home taking care of his parents, there was Krishna. Krishna, now the king of Dwaraka, happily married to his wife Rukmini. But though Krishna was happily married to Rukmini, he remembered his days as a little shepherd boy, along with his goatherds and shepherd friends and the milkmaids, the way they used to run around the trees, and he would play the flute, and he would spend the entire day out grazing the animals. One day, Krishna missed his closest mate and confidant, Radha, so much. But time had passed and she had passed away too. We all know Krishna and his power. Krishna was able to invoke Radha, and there she was in his arms. Both of them looking at each other in their eyes and reminiscing the beautiful days that they had spent together. Not realizing that Rukmini was very much in the palace. Rukmini walked into the room and she was shocked to find Krishna in the arms of Radha. How could a wife ever accept this? And worst of all, they did not even acknowledge her presence. It angered her. She barged out of the room, screamed out to Krishna saying, "I am leaving, never to come back, Krishna. Don't you come there looking for me." This was Krishna, but ultimately a husband. He ran after Rukmini trying to stop her, but Rukmini was too fast for him. She walked away and went away into the forest of Dindirvana. Krishna followed her, along with his soldiers, along with his flute, along with a few of his shepherd friends too. He was hoping to enchant Rukmini with his beautiful music through his flute. But little did he know it was not going to be so easy to convince his wife. He searched everywhere for Rukmini, calling out to her, but he couldn't find her. But while he was looking for her, he bumped into the very mischievous celestial guru Narada. Now, Narada is known to always give unsolicited advice, whether you like it or not. And there, when he heard Krishna's story, as much as he felt pity for him, he smirked at the very thought that, "Oh, Krishna, you are God, but still look at you, erring like a human, upsetting your wife. And I feel so bad for you, Krishna. But you should know the way to find your wife, shouldn't you?" But Krishna didn't. This time he was very serious. He looked at Narada and asked him not to make fun of him and said, "If you know where Rukmini is, tell me. Don't waste my time in all of this." Narada smiled in his usual way and said, "Narayana, Narayana. Why don't you go? Ask your devotee Pundalik, he lives right around this forest. He might be able to tell you where Rukmini is." Well, Krishna was Krishna. He knew all his devotees. And the very thought of Pundalik reminded him of what Pundalik had been and what he had become. He decided to go. He reached Pundalik's house and he called out. But there was Pundalik, busy with his parents, cooking a meal and taking care of them. The same Pundalik who was waiting to get a glimpse of Krishna all his life did not even turn to look outside who was calling to him. Instead, with just his hand gesture, he said, "Just wait, I'll be there in some time. I'm busy with my parents. Whatever it is can wait." Pundalik got busy taking care of his parents. But Krishna, oh, Krishna didn't lose his temper. He waited. He waited for his devotee. A slightly different way, where here Krishna waiting for his devotee to pay him his glimpse. Krishna waited a little while longer and said, "I'm waiting for too long. How long is this going to take? I'm bored." Pundalik just pushed out a brick and said, "You can either sit or wait on this." Krishna stood on the brick with his hand on his waist, waiting for Pundalik, waiting until he served his parents, cooked, served, massaged them, and then Krishna watched as Pundalik's parents laid their heads on his lap and slept. Krishna waited all night patiently for Pundalik to come out. At the break of dawn, Pundalik slowly turned and went out to see if this traveler was still waiting for him and who he was. To his shock, there stood in front of him Krishna. Pundalik was alarmed. He prostrated in front of Krishna with tears in his eyes and said, "How could I make you wait? I waited all my life to see you, and look at me, such a sinner. I've made you wait outside. I made the Lord wait outside for me." Krishna didn't say a word. He got down on his knees and lifted Pundalik by his shoulders and wiped his tears and said, "Oh, Pundalik, you don't need a glimpse of me. You're on the right path of karma. You're doing everything that will lead you to your spiritual salvation. You don't need to see me. But after seeing your devotion, I promise you one thing. I promise to be here in my incarnation as Panduranga or Vitthal, wheat as in standing on the brick, waiting for every devotee who wants to come and seek my blessings. I will be here, and I will be here for every person who wishes to come and seek me. Young or old, educated or illiterate, anyone and everyone can find me through the true path of right karma. Oh, but what about Rukmani? Did Krishna forget Rukmani? Oh, well, that night he did. And then when he decided to stay back for his devotees, he angered his wife even more. Well, first he chose Radha, and now he chose his devotees. Do you think any wife is going to be happy with that? Rukmani was not. Well, she did talk to him for quite a few months. But how can a husband and wife who love each other so truly stay apart for so long? After a few months, they resolved their problems and went back to Dwaraka. But even today, you will find the idol of Krishna in the form of Vitthal with his hand on his waist, waiting for his devotee. And in the same place, you will also find an idol of Rukmani, not next to Krishna. No. She was the angry wife, right? She also has her hand on her waist, but she's angry with her husband, with her idol placed far away from Krishna. And the devotees go to seek both their blessings. And probably they hope that they know that they don't anger their wives the way Krishna did. And that is the beautiful story from Krishna Leela of how Krishna came into another incarnation of Panduranga or Vitthal. The song that I started with actually explains the exact posture and position of Krishna standing on top of a brick. Thank you very much.